As planting technology evolves, fewer variables are left to chance. GPS-guided steering technology spaces every row. Variable plant population technology places every seed. Yield maps and variable rate fertilizer technology match application rates to varying populations. But what if all this technology still doesn't unlock hidden yield potential? AccuShot from Great Plains can change that. The patented AccuShot system makes every drop of nutrients applied at planting available to the plant's feeder root system, not just a fraction of it. So how does AccuShot work? Let's hear from the engineers who helped develop this revolutionary technology.
AccuShot gives us the opportunity to apply a specific volume of liquid product, whether it's insecticide or fertilizer or pop-up, at a specific location relative to the seed. So we can actually dial in a specific volume or specific rate, and then we can put it in a specific location. If it's insecticide, we can put a small shot right over the seed. If it's pop-up or fertilizer, we can put a shot right next to the seed and avoid putting product right on top of the seed, which sometimes causes seed burn and so forth. Back before we were contacted by Great Plains, Capstan had actually envisioned a system similar to this, and we had done some legwork, had some prototypes that we had tested and evaluated, and the fact that we use a very fast pulsing nozzle on the sprayers in the application industry, it lends itself very cleanly to doing something of this speed on planters. So Capstan had actually done some work and had some history, and then we were approached by Tom Evans from Great Plains out of the marketing group, and says, hey, we've got an idea we want to pursue, maybe you guys are the right ones to work with. And we said, well, we already have some products in place, some prototypes and so forth, so it was a good opportunity to partner up between the two companies, Capstan and Great Plains, and build the product that we now have as AccuShot.
Roger Forsberg did some hand plots to validate this. He planted seeds by hand and injected fertilizer by hand throughout a small garden-sized plot.
Roger had seen some of the Capstan technology and came back and talked to Brent Nelson here at Great Plains and said that's something we maybe should pursue.
We started this process 4 years ago. It was a very simple system that we didn't control, didn't monitor, didn't know a lot of the things we're doing now. And we slowly progressed into the valve diagnostics, added the hydraulic pump, we added the key fob, a lot of the system diagnostics like monitoring rows that to make sure they're actually on and the fertilizer is being applied, which definitely makes things a lot more comfortable from the seat, making sure everything works as it's supposed to.
The mechanics of the system are really very, very simple. We've got a central control box where all the electronics, all the brains are located. We also have a VT compatible system, so the terminal or the virtual terminal that we have in the tractor cab that they use for their teleag planning system and so forth, it's the same monitor. The AccuShot comes up on the monitor. It's easy for the operator to use. Got it 5 or 6 simple screens, easy to operate. And then back at the planter, we use a centrifugal pump, strainer, boom plumbing, and then at each row location we have a 12-volt solenoid, and it is actually what's operating to give us the exact shot on the seed. And it's all timed based off seeing the seed at the seed sensor. We account for the travel speed, the delays for the seed to fall to the bottom of the furrow, and then we actually place the liquid specific to the seed based on the operator settings.
That whole tube from the wet boom to the furrow is already charged, and there's a check valve down there, keeps everything in the charged in the line, and when that valve opens, it is already a charged 30 psi down there.
One of the challenges with moving from 30-inch corn to twin row is how do you handle the pop-up? Because you're taking the same amount of seeds that was in that 30-inch row, and now you're splitting it between 2 rows, which is great for the seeds because it gives it more spacing, helps canopy, and all the benefits of twin row. The challenge is what do you do with your pop-up? Because in theory, you now have 2 furrows, and do you double your pop-up fertilizer volume, or do you just put a half in each furrow and then the seeds aren't getting the same amount? So with AccuShot, we can actually put the same volume that you would in one furrow between the 2 furrows, but put it close to the seed where the seed can utilize those nutrients and take advantage of it. As you go to twin row, your seed spacing gets wider, some of that fertilizer that if you dribble down the furrow is a long ways from the seed and the plant may not utilize it.
This way you maintain your fertilizer per inch of row. So assuming that, we now know we're not using all of our fertilizer. So we can assume that the fertilizer farther between the seeds is not used. So we can remove that fertilizer from the application process and just apply it near the seed where it counts.
I think there's other opportunities with this. And as we get more people involved and people understand the technology that's available, I think some of the agronomists, some of your seed companies are going to find more applications than we've even thought about to date. Of course, pop-up fertilizer, even being able to take some of the higher concentration fertilizers where the salt content tends to be high and we have problems with burn, if we can actually apply that between the seeds and avoid the seeds with it, we may be able to actually add additional fertilizer in the furrow and take advantage of that and avoid our seed burn. And of course, insecticide is another one that makes a lot of sense, because rather than put insecticide down the whole furrow where we only really needed a couple inches around the seed, we can save a lot of insecticide. We can help stay on label, things like that, by being able to just place the exact amount adjacent to the seed or over the seed.
We have tried making AccuShot very operator friendly. Down the right-hand side of the screen, each icon is a different screen that you can go to, and it's kind of situated for most used to least used. Also, we have a key fob with this system, and you can use the key fob to go row by row and check each row to make sure each row is purged out and cleaned out. Also, that key fob is used for a tip calibration. And then also, you can run your key fob from the screen. So if you lose your key fob or just want to check a row from sitting in the seat of the cab, you can check it right there from the monitor. And then also we have another screen on the system that you can see real time as you're going through the field, that each row is pulsing like it's supposed to, and it's seeing the seed like it's supposed to.
One nice thing about the key fob, we do have the opportunity to turn the pump on and off. So if there is an issue with plumbing, there's a leak somewhere, you can, from the key fob, turn the pump off and then fix the problem and then turn the pump back on.
Yeah. One of the other benefits of having the key fob is you can actually walk back there and then turn each row on one at a time, so you don't have the whole thing going at once and you're not wasting a lot of fertilizer and so forth. So the key fob gives you the ability to do just a shot right down the planter.
There are times when discs are more prone to plugging, so either in muddy conditions or anytime you set the planter down without moving forward, there is the opportunity for dirt to be lodged in there. The key fob does add a creature comfort, so if you do feel like rows could be plugged, you can just turn it into key fob mode, walk back to the back of the planter, run the key fob across the planter, make sure everything's open, everything's squirting where it needs to be.
We also have a lot of safeguards built into this system to let the operator know if something is not operating correctly. We will shoot an alarm out on the monitor if there is a problem with the valve up top. If the plunger is lodged open, lodged closed, if the valve actually has a problem with it of any sort. If we're seeing seed but we're not applying fertilizer, we throw alarms there. If we see seed and we don't see a speed, we throw alarms. There's a lot of different comfort alarms thrown, but also warnings. We throw warnings if an operator does something that could hurt the seed. We throw a warning letting them know that, hey, this is a potential risk. Proceed if you would like, or don't do it. Go back to what the setting was before.
We do have a few limp home modes. There is a pressure sensor. There is GPS speed required for this. If you lose speed, you can put in a manual speed and still continue to plant. If you lose pressure, we can put the pump into manual mode, and then you go by the gauge on the boom whether or not you want to ramp up your pump or down to your preset target pressure. And this will still allow you to keep planting, keep using the system even though one of the components has failed. Maintenance is very simple on the system. There's no daily maintenance tasks. There is end of the season clean out, which is very important. We do recommend that the system is flushed with water thoroughly, and this can be easily done through the key fob. Through the on mode, we can just manually run the pump and just clean the system out, and then add RV antifreeze to fill the system up to prevent it from freezing. Other than that, typical maintenance is just your normal strainers. We do run an 80 mesh strainer just after the pump to ensure no big particles enter the wet boom and the valves.
The solenoid valves are very serviceable. They're easy to disassemble if you do get a piece of contamination in there. A pair of pliers is all it takes, and you can open the solenoid up, remove the contamination, make sure it moves, plunger in there moves freely, reassemble it, and you're back up and going in a matter of minutes.
One of the things that really makes this system very accessible and usable is the AirPro meter and ClearShot seed tube. It improves the system drastically by having a very predictable seed drop and a very consistent spacing. Since we are sensing from the seed sensor, the only variables that will affect spacing are between the seed sensor and the ground. So if a seed leaves the meter a touch late and is going to be a little behind, it doesn't matter since the time from the seed sensor to the ground is constant. Many farmers today use variable rate technology. Since we are only looking at seeds and gallons, this will actually maintain a constant volume per seed regardless of seeding rate. So if the population goes from 30 to 40, you're actually not cutting back on fertilizer, you're maintaining the exact same fertilizer per seed. Target population and fertility are both a function of yield goals, so during a variable rate application, when the target population increases, the fertilizer automatically goes with it because we are maintaining fertilizer per seed as opposed to fertilizer per acre.
One of the other nice features of this is, since we are triggering off the seeds, when you turn row units off or sections off and the seeds stop, the liquid stops as well.